Hello and welcome to the Kaz and Daz Show, episode 15. I'm here with Michael Hanson Morris and not Daz because sometimes people just need a break. Sometimes the Kaz and Daz Show just needs to be Kaz featuring someone. So we've got Mikey with us today and maybe we'll see Darren next week. We're going to cover all the weekend's NBL action, last weekend's WBBL action, a little bit of EuroLeague and a little bit of WNBA, and we'll have a little preview of what's to come this weekend. So, Mikey, how are you doing?
Yeah, good. I feel like a lot's happened I feel like a lot's happened. I just don't feel like I'm used to having like 8 or 9 domestic games on a weekend anymore. It's been a bit odd, but nice to have it back in kind of full glory.
Yeah, it does seem a long time since we've had like quite a lot of games to catch up on, and I think the build up to last Friday's cup final as well was we were so focused on the one game that these extra ones have just snuck up on us. So let's kick off. Again, if you're watching, thank you for watching. Leave your comments, like, subscribe. We appreciate it, and let us know what you think. We will kick off with some NBL action, and we'll look at the team of the week for the last weekend. So, Focus Hoops is invited to help decide the team of the week, and the 5 players this week, we have Harriet Wellham for Ipswich. She had 31 points in a win, 7 rebounds, 6 assists, 3 steals, and a block. Danielle Casey, also for Ipswich, 25 points, 2 rebounds, 2 assists, 4 steals, and a block, shooting 5 of 9 from the 3-point range. Then Carolina Marquez for Worcester, 26 points, 7 rebounds, 7 steals, which is always a stat I like. I know Greg's not a massive fan. And an efficiency rating of 18. Then Emma Bush for Thames Valley, 12 points, 8 rebounds, and 3 steals. And Cameron Taylor-Willis for Ipswich, 11 points, 11 rebounds, 1 assist, and 2 steals. So Ipswich really dominating in the league and in the team of the week. So the Ipswich are 7-0 currently, top of the standings. And they beat Reading 88-60 at the weekend. Thames Valley beat Worcester 59-52. So, Mikey, who stands out to you the most in the team of the week there? I know we were having a discussion in the group chat about it, and I think Harriet was leading all scorers this weekend with 31 points and 7 rebounds.
Yeah, I think both games were a little scrappy at times. I've not caught up with the full games, but obviously it's kind of expected. Everyone's kind of working their way back in WNBL. Most teams have had a significant break, and certainly that looked like, especially Reading, Ipswich looked like they were themselves. Won the first quarter by 21. At that point, the game's done. We'll make a slight correction. Ipswich is 7-1.
Oh, sorry, they are. Yeah, they are, aren't they?
Because obviously they had a slip up just before Christmas. But yeah, I mean, if you look at it from a league point of view, I would be highly surprised if this Ipswich team doesn't go on to win the league, and as long as the playoffs get played, win the playoffs as well. They had a bit of a scary injury. I've not heard much, but Coco Long, the point guard, went down in the game in the second quarter. And I've seen some stuff. Don't know what the update is, but I think there's a little bit of a concern that it was a bit of a serious injury. So hopefully she's okay. And yeah, that will be a loss for Ipswich because she is the one player that can really control the game as a natural point guard. Obviously, Ipswich have got so much talent. They've got other players that can fill in, but Coco's a pure point guard. Sees the floor really well and doesn't care about scoring as much and allows the others to kind of do that. So hopefully she's okay. And yeah, Reading just looked like they struggled with the break, and their players that were playing well last year are struggling a little bit this year, like Candela Nunes, who was, I think she was 3 of 15 from the floor, off memory. So yeah, they're the type of people that in a final, Candela's been with the team for a long time now. She's the type of person that Reading need to take on scoring load, and when she struggles, it'll be a bit tougher for them. But I think Reading will be okay long term. They just need to get settled in, and they picked up Heather Maxwell, who was due to be playing with Bristol. She's one of the Bristol young kids, and 3 of them have gone out to different clubs. One's gone to Barking, one's gone to Reading, one's gone up to Nottingham. So it's nice to see that Reading have helped out there, and obviously youth development's a big focus for really all the teams at the back end of the year. Ipswich gave a couple more debuts as well to younger players, so I think we'll see more and more of that in WNBL.
And it's good to see that, isn't it? It's good to see, like you say, get the players getting an opportunity. I was watching the Nottingham game and saw, I'm sorry, I've forgotten her name, but the player that was making a debut for Nottingham.
Natalie Charity.
Yes, yeah. And it's great to see, isn't it? And it's a shame that they've not been able to carry on with Bristol this season. But if they've got the opportunity to play elsewhere, it's great that they can take it.
Yeah.
So Reading currently 2 wins, 4 losses after that game at the weekend. Ipswich 7-1. Thames Valley got their first win of the season. So they're 1-2. And just some notable achievements for the team of the week as well. So the team basketball award goes to Thames Valley, who, as we say, got their first win of the season. They moved the ball really well and had 16 fast break points, which really helped them in that 7-point win over Worcester.
Yeah, I mean that's a big win.
Yeah,
Thames Valley, kind of the unknown. They struggled first game against Loughborough. I can't remember who they played in their second game, but it was close, and you kind of felt like this team could upset someone. I probably before the break wouldn't have imagined it was Worcester, because Worcester are playing some really good basketball at times. But again, this break's kind of thrown some teams off rhythm. And yeah, it's now a case of go away and adapt. And I think I think Thames Valley play this week, but then Worcester have now got another break to contend with. So it's just tough for teams to get into rhythm when they're on off, and that's going to kind of be the story, I think, for the next 6 weeks with the way the fixtures are set out.
Yeah, I think so. When I'm seeing some of the teams on the schedules, I'm thinking I've not watched you for ages. So Thames Valley play Nottingham on this Saturday, and I feel like Nottingham haven't played for a while as well.
Yeah, no, it'd be Nottingham and Barking played a couple of weeks ago, so Nottingham first game back, and I think there's a couple of teams still to really get going. I don't think Cola have played yet since Christmas.
No, and
someone else that's got to play as well.
Cardiff.
So there's a few that, and hopefully they're in a situation where they can continue. Slight surprise, especially Cardiff, because Cardiff have now got the least games played. That now their first team are back playing. That hopefully their second team aren't far behind.
And just remind us what the new fixtures are. It's every team plays every team once.
Honestly, I don't know, because they said they were potentially looking at changing it. I don't think there's been an official announcement, and I've not really had the time to go back through the fixtures and look. So the fact that teams are playing each other twice, but B said that wasn't going to happen until after everyone had played each other once, I'm not quite sure what the situation is, because I think Ipswich have.
So Ipswich have played
Reading
8.
Before, but I know like the week before, Solent and Loughborough, that's the second time they played each other. So I'm not quite sure what's going on, to be honest. I'm sure B will update us at some point.
Because you've got teams like Ipswich who've played 8 games, Loughborough have played 9, and then teams like Cardiff who've played 2 and Thames Valley have played 3. So they've got a lot of catching up to do.
Yep.
Going to see some double headers, I think. Okay, so looking forward to next week's games. Ipswich are playing BA and Thames Valley are playing Nottingham. I guess my pick of those games would be the Nottingham Thames Valley game.
I think Barking are going to struggle at Ipswich. It's probably going to be one of those that Ipswich will be able to give some of the younger players that obviously aren't playing at the moment, because obviously the juniors aren't playing at all, some more court time. And and then Thames Valley Nottingham's going to be interesting, because obviously Vicky Gray's left Trent. Mm-hmm. I think they were due to bring in Michelle Bradley after Christmas, but if that's happened with everything that's going on, I don't know. So it'd be interesting to see how Trent look, and Thames Valley with a little bit of momentum perhaps coming in it.
Yeah. Should be a good game. Okay, so any more NBL, or shall we just jump swiftly onto the WBBL?
Yeah.
Just figure out. So, comment from Chester Donnelly. Well done, Mikey. Nothing but positive comments about your commentating. Thanks, Chester. And yeah, Great, Mikey. How many games did you commentate last weekend?
Just 2 last weekend. So I
2.
had Sevenoaks on Saturday and Nottingham Sunday. So similar type of format for me this weekend as well. It's going to be busy, but getting better and enjoying it, and that's kind of the main thing at the moment. So thank you to Sevenoaks and Nottingham for having me.
Yeah, it's definitely, and I mean, I'll talk about it in a minute, but your setup at Nottingham and the stream that you guys have got going on, the visuals, everything, it's really great. It's a really, really nice looking setup. Just your player promos, the footage you've got interspersed, it's great. It's a really great advert for what the WBBL is.
Yeah, no, I mean, Kieran runs the live stream and he does a terrific job of just setting it up. And I think it's now we're comfortable. We're adding little more bits in each week, and we've got a couple more surprises in line this weekend, hopefully, if everything goes to plan. Doesn't always go to plan. We nearly didn't have time to get the coaching interviews in because something dropped just before we were meant to go live on Sunday, ironically. But yeah, just trying to add some more in, and it's nice. And I mean, credit to Kieran, does a terrific job with the setup. So, and then Ralston at Sevenoaks as well. Those that watched NBL live coverage on the men's side, and obviously the odd women's game that they do, Ralston again does a terrific job of, they single-handedly run the streams pretty much. So Kieran and Ralston do a great job and just make my life easy. I can just pretty much roll up and commentate. Thank you to those guys.
Yeah, it's great, and it's great that there are teams that can be doing that and putting out like a product like that. Yeah, looks really professional, looks really good, and hopefully it can start to become a league-wide standard. Okay, so WBBL, we did cover the cup final after our big preview on Thursday. So we have if you missed it, we've got a show on our YouTube channel. Straight after the game, we jumped on with Hannah Shaw, Great Britain International, Manchester Mystics, Hannah Shaw, and just spoke about the game. So just very quickly to recap, Leicester won 68-78, got off to a very hot start. Sevenoaks struggled a little bit in the first quarter and then pulled it back to within 4 at the half. And we saw some great performances from Kate Oliver, who was MVP of the game, and Hannah Robb, who was just scoring. So that was really good to see. Yeah. Good.
I was going to say, yeah. I mean, obviously, we don't want to talk about the game we've already reviewed in a sense as much. But obviously, they play each other on Saturday. So
yes,
that's on the link, and this is going to be really interesting. We kind of touched upon it towards the end of the review show that this is going to be interesting to see what both coaches have taken out of that game. Now they've had a bit of time to reflect. Obviously, Sevenoaks have got another couple of games and practices in their legs as well, and Lavinia's back. What adjustments each team makes, because I think when I watched the game back early in the week, I think there's some glaring things, and we kind of saw it kind of hit a nail on the head in the review show. But I think Sevenoaks really kind of chased Kate Oliver out the game on the defensive end for a stretch. So now can Leicester make an adjustment to put Kate in a better situation defensively? Does Lang go with the smaller lineup and not play Lavinia as much to try and expose Kate on the defensive end? Because that's kind of what worked for them.
Yeah.
And all those little adjustments, and it's going to be really interesting. And talking to Len, he was kind of happy with where his roster was going to be. He thought with Lavinia back, he thought it'd have enough, but this is going to be an eye-opening weekend because obviously the signing deadlines towards I think it's next Sunday or maybe the Monday after. It's sort of at the very end of February normally. So I'm not quite sure exactly where it falls. So if anyone wants to make adjustments to the roster, it's going to happen this week or probably next week.
Okay.
So Sevenoaks suddenly dropped to do they look at bringing someone in? It'll be interesting to see how it all unfolds.
Yeah, definitely. And will they have both players back that missed the cup final?
No, Copple's long gone. So Sevenoaks will. Okay. So it's just Lavinia.
So it's just Lavinia, right?
And she should have been out of quarantine a couple of days ago or today. Not quite sure exactly when she got back from Portugal, but the plan was that she would play this weekend, and it's a huge weekend for Sevenoaks, really.
Yeah, and that game's at 1:30 on Saturday, and that is that's in Sevenoaks, isn't it?
Yeah, so it's
Yes,
back at Surrey Sports
okay.
Park, so I'll be there. And then, ironically, I'm following Sevenoaks all weekend because I'm up with them in Nottingham on Sunday. So, yeah, really tough weekend for Sevenoaks. And they struggled against Oakland. And Oakland's probably could have won the game. Oakland's were up 4. No, Oakland's were up 5 with 4 minutes to go, and then Janice was big down the stretch. 2 big threes. One was a terrific piece of play by Sevenoaks. I think the ball swung. I think it was someone counted the passes afterwards. I think it was 9 passes, 2 dribbles.
Oh, I saw the clip of that. That was
and that
great.
was a big shot. And Amari Carter, who struggled the whole game from the floor, nearly rescued the game in dramatic fashion down the stretch. Hit back-to-back threes and nearly came up with a steal down 3 with 10 seconds to go. But Oakland's looked really impressive. Bearing in mind all the situation they've got, so they're massively struggling with injuries. They've got 3 key players, maybe 3 of the certainly 3 of the best 5 players. You can maybe argue 3 of the best 4 players out long term with injury. So credit to Oakland, and also they got the win last night as well. So big kind of development for Leon and his side at the moment.
Yeah, it's good to see them being able to do that with the situations they've been in. And they've got Leicester this weekend, 4:00 on Sunday. So that's another tough game. Playing the top 2 teams.
But they played each other not long ago. Was it 2 weeks ago? It was just before the international break. No, it was just before the international break. And I know Leicester ran out by 20, but I think it was last week we were talking about it. That was a 6-point game with 6 minutes to go. It was in that. Let me.
The scoreline flattered Leicester, I think.
Yeah, it was 53-46. Leicester led with 5:30 to go. So 7-point game with 5. So 7 Oakland's, as much as they've lost players, they've 7 down to Leicester with 5.5 minutes to go, up against Sevenoaks with 3-4 minutes to go. They've made some real strides, and I think Louise Rouse, the young big for them, has been terrific recently. Top scored last night as well. But she's been terrific, and she's really grown up and shown a lot of development. I think it's her 3rd year now in the league. I don't know if she's off to States this year or next year, but she's been really big for them. And when Amari Carter can just make shots, she's struggling to get it to fall. But if she can make shots she's capable of consistently, Oakland's have got some ways that they can win games, and I wouldn't be surprised if they do keep it close again.
Yeah, I've not actually watched too many Oakland's games, so I'm going to have to make a point of doing that this weekend, I think. Because they have been very close, haven't they? So good team to watch. So we had on Saturday we had obviously Sevenoaks and Oakland. Sevenoaks with a 7-point win. Janice Monacana had 21 points, 2 rebounds, and carried on a 3-point shooting from Friday. We had Durham and Essex. So Essex took that one 75-54. D'Angelique Waith, 21 points, 12 rebounds, 4 assists and 2 steals for Essex. And Claire Paxton, 13 points, 10 rebounds and 3 assists for Durham. So what have you made of Essex since they've come in? Because they've just come they've not had too many games, and these just seem to have been made a bit of a bang when they've come in. 3-1.
We'll see this weekend. I think this weekend's an interesting game. But I couldn't disagree if anyone said they're the 5th best team in the WBBL right now.
Yeah.
You can't take as much away from the win against Durham. Durham obviously still building, only their 2nd game, and the game was certainly Essex jumped out early. I think it was a 10-point lead early, and Durham kind of then hung around for a long part of the 2nd quarter, and there was only a kind of a late run in the last 3 minutes of the half. I think at one point it was I think Durham got it down to 6. Missed a free throw and missed a pair of free throws and a layup, and that would have got it down to to 4 or even 2 if they'd hit both opportunities. And instead, Essex kind of then made a run to kind of get the gap out to 12-13 at half time, and then Dunn kind of ran out of steam, which you'd expect. They're finding their legs. But yeah, this Essex team's really interesting. And if they win on Saturday, there's no way you can say anything other than right now the way they're playing, they are the 5th best team in the league, which is a huge improvement of where they've been. And Tom Sadler's done a great job with recruitment and who he's brought in, and he's got a pretty balanced starting 5. I'm slightly concerned about the depth, but you never quite know.
And it's good, isn't it, to be able to see teams grow over the seasons and to be able to develop, because that's what we want. That's what makes the league stronger as well. So this Saturday they're playing Manchester in Durham at home.
In Essex.
Sorry, in Essex. Yeah.
I have to say, it's definitely not.
Maybe they just want a neutral venue.
That's not neutral. That's a trek.
So that's Manchester and Essex at 3:00 on Saturday. Saturday just gone. Manchester lost to the Nottingham Wildcats 95-61. Another dominant performance from Nottingham in Manchester. I've seen 2 of them this season. Nottingham were just, for me, Nottingham were just dominant inside, which is something they did in the first game in the Cup. They out-rebounded Manchester 60-26 last time, and this time 49-33. And I think Manchester are really struggling with the presence inside, with the height. They've not really got anyone other than Hannah Shaw who's kind of dominating on the boards or in the paint. They've had problems scoring in the paint, which they didn't yesterday against Caledonia. Obviously, Caledonia are a younger team, maybe less experienced than Nottingham, but that seems to be Manchester's gap this year, losing players like Sam Roscoe and Dominique Allen.
Yeah, for sure. And I mean, I say it's a missing big thing, but it's also the fact that Manchester just don't have answers for Shumpert and Joyner. There's just no 2 ways about it. I was actually talking with Greg earlier today, and just something that popped up, and I had a quick look at Jazz's stat line against the Mystics as a whole. So she now played 10 against Manchester.
Okay.
She's averaging 24 points per game, 16.9 rebounds a game, 1.5 assists, 2 steals, 3 blocks a game, shooting 49.3% from the floor and 82% from the foul line, shooting nearly 5.5 free throws a game.
I mean, that's ridiculously dominant.
Yeah, against one team, and that's over the course of 2 seasons. We've had a near triple double against Mystics in the past with blocks. I think she was 1 block short of a triple double one year. And Mystics just don't have an answer. And I'm sure if you ask Jazz and Chelsea if they could play Manchester every week, the answer would be yes. Just over the 3 years, Manchester have just never found a solution. And again, they were utterly dominant.
Yeah, I mean, I've said before, like Shumpert and Joyner are my 2 sort of favourite duo to watch in the WBBL, just because the way they play together, I just think is fantastic. And obviously they've played together since they've been at university. But their stat line from this weekend, so that they played 2 games, they had 55% of the team's points between them. On against Manchester, Jasmine Joyner had 30 points, 16 rebounds, 2 assists and 2 blocks. Chelsea Shumpert, 27 points, 4 rebounds, 7 assists and 3 steals. And last time they were in Manchester, they combined for 66 points. This time, only 57. So,
and again, it was efficient as well. And that's
very.
I'm like, obviously that, but Tia Freeman was 17 on 12 shots, and obviously Mer Lundqvist didn't miss she went 8 of 8 from the floor and 11 rebounds. And Nottingham were missing a lot last week. Simone Costa was out, Siobhan Pride was out, Praise Egbariva was out. So Nottingham were missing a lot of the top rotation. Rose McDonald still out. So that's 4 of their top 8 gone. And everyone kind of stepped up across the weekend, and they carried that on into Sunday as well. But just Mystics just weren't at the races. And again, we kind of thought it might be coming because, again, it was the first game back after the break as well. Yeah. So
2 months off.
There is that to it. But obviously, we've seen before that Mystics just don't have answers. for Nottingham. So if they see each other again, maybe the scoreline will be a bit closer. But based on what we've seen this year, you can't see Manchester beating Nottingham or really getting that close.
No, I wouldn't have thought so. I mean, Greg spoke to Kendrick after the game, and Kendrick was saying, their game plan was to hold Manchester to 60. They obviously got 61, so he was like, not too, but it worked. It worked. What they were doing worked. The defense was really strong. And like you say, Moa Lundqvist, 100% from the field, but no threes as well. So
yeah, that's Mo is an inside presence, and she's really grown. Obviously, I've seen a lot of their games, and she's a different type of big. She's a lot more physical. So yeah, bearing in mind she missed the whole of last year as well with. So yeah, she hadn't played till 18 months ago, so she's kind of finding her feet more and more. And again, Nottingham just carried that on into Sunday, and obviously held Caledonia to 50, and that's been a big key for them is being better on the defensive end. And on the whole, I think they'll be pretty happy with last weekend. But they have still got things they need to address going into this weekend.
And this weekend they are playing Sevenoaks on Sunday.
And they're in Durham on Saturday as well.
Right. Oh yeah, sorry, I've got that on a different sheet. Yeah. So it's going to be double headers are tough, aren't they? Especially travelling.
Yeah. Again, it depends on how many bodies Nottingham have got back and stuff as well. I think the key thing, the only thing for Nottingham is just to make sure they don't overlook Durham and keeping an eye on Sevenoaks, because I think they've got enough experience on that roster, they won't completely overlook it, but I'm sure there's been one eye in training and maybe adjusting some of the prep more towards Sevenoaks and Durham, which normally you don't do too often, but kind of when you're playing a team at the top versus a team at the bottom, you can kind of get away with a little bit, but just make sure you actually get the job done on the road in the first place and get it done efficiently. Yeah.
And how far do you think Nottingham can go this season? What do you think they can finish as in the top four?
They're a top four side. The draw, we'll get onto it later, but the trophy draw is certainly eye-pleasing for them. Again, the thing is, on their day, if they click, they could beat anyone.
Yeah.
But it's doing that in a big pressure situation. And this group, the one query is on them is they haven't shown they can do it. They've lost multiple semi-finals before, and never quite got to a final, or then won a final, and then proven to win a finals never matter. But yeah, that's the issue for them. And we'll see if they can get it done. If they've got everyone healthy, they've got a chance. So yeah, it'll be interesting. This weekend, I think we'll show a lot the Sevenoaks game for them. They played the semi-finals to a 2-point game earlier. Can they make the adjustments from that? We'll see.
Something I really liked as well watching the game on Sunday. They built up quite a big lead, so they were able to put some of the younger players on court, and they seem to have they did as well on Saturday against the Mystics. But I like seeing that. I like seeing a rotation like that, and Letitia Willis, I thought was good, and is it Dejani Casanova?
Yeah, DJ.
Yeah, I thought she had some good games. Sometimes, that players aren't always getting on the stat sheets, but you can tell the impact that they have on the game.
I mean, the one that went under the radar for me was Mariam Olawayan on Saturday, because she hasn't played a game in 12 months because of she's been in the UK a long time. She's been with the club probably 6-7 years, but she still doesn't have a British passport, so she counts towards one of the non-Brits slots, and Nottingham obviously don't have room for her on the roster normally, but with everything going on, she played 25 minutes and she didn't score. But when you go beyond that, she impacted the game massively. She led the team in plus minus at 32.
Yeah.
You haven't played in 12 months a competitive game, come in, five assists, 4 steals, did a great job on Georgia and Nicolette.
Yeah. And you could see she was just there. She was just everywhere.
Yeah. And yeah, she's another one. Again, Nottingham have got that pipeline. Obviously, this is kind of the end of the team that won the Under-16 National Cup 3-4 years ago. I think it was 4 years ago. So this is their kind of that group starting to progress up and kind of split up towards the end of this year now. So you're kind of seeing the lasting effects of that. But obviously, they've got the next wave coming through with the likes of, I think Letitia Willis has got another year.
She's committed to
Oh
New
no,
York in
going
20.
no, but we've got another couple coming through that have got another year. Praise Egberiva has got another year. Now we've got Natalie Charity just coming in, who's 15, 16. So they're building a pipeline as a lot of WBBL teams are. So yeah, it'll be interesting to see if they get some more court time on Saturday.
Yeah, definitely. Okay, so moving on to another of Saturday's games, Newcastle and Cardiff. So Cardiff took this one 79-77. Alison Gurrell, again, leading for Newcastle, 29 points, 4 rebounds, 9 assists and 3 steals. And for Cardiff, we had Marley Ball with 19 points, 8 rebounds and 2 assists. I didn't actually see this game, and I've been meaning to go back and watch it, or certainly the last few minutes of it, because it sounded like it was a really good one. Did you catch this, Mikey?
Yeah, I caught up with it. When was it? Monday night. I watched it back in full.
Yeah.
Yeah, obviously, Ball looks a really good addition for Cardiff. Can stretch the floor. I think they knew coming in she'd provide some scoring. They're obviously missing that with Christina Bajika at the moment, being out hurt. But yeah, we kind of said on Thursday's show we thought this would be close.
You called a lot of these ones.
Yeah, the ending was wild. And I don't know if I've actually still got the clip on my laptop, if I accidentally deleted it. But the final play was special. But it all came from something that actually, if I talk about it from a coaching and coaching point of view, is one of the most difficult things to pull off in basketball.
Okay.
And she probably won't like me for playing this, but this was a really interesting situation. So, we need to get rid of. I know what we need to do. We're both trying to find the same button. First one,
help Daz.
Where is Daz when you need him? There it is. That one, that'll do. Okay. So Cardiff here are intentionally trying to miss the free throw, because obviously if they miss Chris Bunton and Newcastle have a timeout. Okay. So obviously if they miss the free throw, the clock starts on as soon as the ball's touched, basically on the rebound.
And we've got what 1.6 left. Okay.
And so what are you going to do? So really, by the time you get your rebound, one dribble, you're shooting from your own free throw line. We all know the odds of anyone reaching the rim, never mind on target, online, everything else, is slim. There's not many people in the WBBL that can go get the ball all the way to the rim from the opposite free throw line.
Yeah.
So the idea is to intentionally miss. But obviously there's a lot of communication coming from the bench and all of this. And you can tell she Kim Kane kind of trying to process it. And as a player, you're never normally asked to miss a shot.
No, you don't shoot to miss.
This is something you do not practice. And look, you can see the hitch, and then she realizes it's short, and then she misses everything, and then Newcastle can call the timeout.
Right.
But yeah, it was a really, really odd situation. And obviously, Newcastle called a timeout. And then at the other end, Kim Kane makes for me, it's a brilliant defensive play.
Yeah.
I've seen a lot of people say it's a foul, and for me, it's not. The question is can we find the clip before we finish talking about the game? I've got it somewhere. The question is,
because we've seen, we saw a few games in the WNBA last season, I think, where we were saying, or maybe it was just the one where Raquana Williams didn't miss a free throw for the Sparks, and it allowed Seattle the opportunity to shoot an out of bounds shot and win.
Yeah.
And it's an unnatural thing to do, to shoot to miss.
Yeah. Yeah, it's gonna. Right. We might have to improvise this. Rather than me download the clip, I might just pull it straight up. Right. all sorts going on. At least I know where it is. It is the last play of the game after all.
Yeah, it's not a third quarter play. That's
right. So we're going to do this the old-fashioned way, Kaz, and everyone at home. Apologies for the slight delay. We are trying to. So if I do this, I'm hoping everyone can now see my screen.
Yes.
Good.
Can we get rid of
so this is the last play of the game, and this is really interesting. Newcastle get Garel, and this is a risky play, but Ken goes straight in, and I know I can see why people want a foul here.
Just okay. So, okay, there. Right.
The way, for me, there's two things. Number one, if this is a rebound, this is called a jump ball all day.
Yep, I'm with you.
Got the ball. But the thing for me, and I will play this at quarter speed, and this is the reason for me it's not a foul. Look, she never really, and this is how good a grip, that ball comes out as clean as you like with her grip.
Yeah.
And that he gets a lot of the ball.
No,
because that right here,
it's all ball, isn't it?
Smooth, and she's got that clutch. And obviously, it's a tough angle to tell, but
yeah,
I 100% see why there's not a foul there.
I can see that. I'm with you. It looks like it's all ball.
And look, the likelihood is that when you get your arms around it there, you're going to get a little bit of the arm.
Yeah.
It's almost impossible not to. But the thing is, you see that time and time again. Look, how many jump balls are purely where both players have their hands solely on the ball and at no point get the arm? Doesn't happen. And look, it's probably not a defensive play that's advised, but it worked. And that's one of the wildest finishes I've seen of a player literally just taking the ball out of her hands, and ultimately it goes down as a terrific defensive play. And for Cardiff, again, having not played in 2 months, a big win on the road for them. And I think that, again, they're another team that have struggled to make the playoffs recently, like Essex, and they've got a legitimate shot this year.
Yeah, 2-1 at the moment. They had that win over Manchester in the last game that they played before Christmas, and Steph Collins' first year as head coach.
Full-time head coach. She was obviously player coaching last year, and she was technically the head coach, but obviously Alex Radu, who's a really experienced assistant, was taking a lot more responsibility because Steph was on court some of the times. But yeah, full-time head coaches. Well, non-playing head coach. How about that one?
Yeah, okay, that's a good one. Okay, and then the weekend's final game, we had Nottingham and Caledonia on Sunday. Nottingham, again, as we mentioned, another dominant performance, 96-50. Jasmine Joyner, 25 points, 8 rebounds, 3 assists, and a block on 78% shooting. Chelsea Shumpert, 24 points, 4 rebounds, 5 assists, 4 steals on 84% shooting. Went 9 of 9 from 2, just missed 2 threes. And that, like, to me, that really, really stood out when I was watching it, because the shots that she's taken, they're so considered. She doesn't rush anything. She doesn't seem to take a bad shot. Everything is just, she's in the right place, the right time.
Oh no, Chelsea can take bad shots. But the thing is, she can make bad shots, and that's kind of where it suddenly becomes a good shot.
When she does it, you don't think, oh, that's an outlandish under the basket round reverse layup. You think, oh yeah, that's fine.
But no, really, look, Nottingham were dominant, but again, the one thing, and I kind of alluded to it, we'll briefly move on, but not obviously Maud Ranger for Caledonia was 28 points on 7 of 14 from 3. And that's kind of said where's the issue with Nottingham is they're struggling to defend shooters. Obviously, Cassie Breen went off for 7-8 threes their home game before last.
Oh, that was against, yes, yeah.
I can't remember what she was. She was 7 of 12. She was 7 of 12. Maud Ranger just went 7 of 14. So that's kind of where Nottingham are struggling. Obviously, Caledonia short-handed. As it is, they lost their Spanish player, Luisa Velasquez, after like a game and a quarter. She may well be done for the season. Polly Story's out at the moment for them, who's was their leading scorer. So yeah, they've kind of been hit. Well, I say hit with injury bug. How much have you hit with an injury bug when it's your coach that's on crutches on game day? Which obviously Bart actually hurt himself. He told me hurt himself in training doing a demo of all things.
I mean, hey, he's getting involved.
Yeah, well, he's not now. But yeah, no, Caledonia young, and they'll keep getting better. I think there's more to come from certain players. And obviously roll that straight into last night's game against the Mystics as well with the same roster. They show glimpses of being good, but they've just not yet got that consistency.
Yeah.
You kind of, again, Sian Phillips has taken another step. How aggressive she was is what I noticed on Sunday, and I didn't see last night's game, but I'm assuming similar type thing, being really aggressive.
She was, yeah.
Going downhill, and she's developing. And I think Ella Doherty struggled a little bit this year, and I'm not quite sure why, because she was really my one to watch coming in. And I think she's good enough, and that she'll at some point start to find a bit of rhythm and form. And when she does, that can really help Caledonia, because she's a real guard that can control it and balanced. And we saw last year the amount of plays that she made at the rim, getting to the rim, was really exciting for Caledonia. So once they get the balance, they'll certainly be competitive.
Yeah, I totally agree. Yeah, Sian was great last night as well. Manchester won 90-64. That was in the trophy, so they're through to the next round. Hannah Shaw and Sophia Song had 19 points each. Rhiannon Bailey had a great game, 14 points on 3 of 3 shooting. And saw a couple of the younger Mystics from the academy come through as well. So Saffron Ewing Murphy got on court, stole the ball, made a nice high layup off the glass, and Olivia Forrester 1 point and a steal in her debut. So great to see that. And I used to play on the same team as Olivia's dad. So yeah, blast from the past. So congratulations to Olivia and Saffron. We'll see more of you in future. And yesterday's other trophy game was Oaklands and Cardiff, 61-52 to Oaklands. So that means in the bracket that we have coming up, we have got Manchester and Newcastle, Leicester and Oaklands, which is being played this Sunday, Sevenoaks and London, and Nottingham and Durham. I like the Manchester Newcastle matchup because both games, for the majority of the games, the majority of the quarters that they've played them, they've been pretty close. The end result has been a bit lopsided, but they've generally been pretty close for the 3 quarters. And I think they match up quite well together because they're both teams that have maybe struggled a little bit more than they expected this season.
Yeah, and I think the other thing with the trophy is if it's bracketed out how it was portrayed last night, that the semi-finals would be Nottingham, the winner of winner of Newcastle Manchester versus the winner of Nottingham Durham.
Oh, well, Manchester don't want that if it's Nottingham.
Yeah, but what it means, obviously, London, Sevenoaks London's going to be a terrific game.
Yeah.
But whoever comes through that, no disrespect to Oakland, and we said they could run it close, but you expect on paper Leicester to beat Oaklands. And now you've got Leicester versus the winner of Sevenoaks and Barking in the semi-final. So you've probably kind of what happened in the men's with the trophy. You can probably say on paper, at least the way the season's panned out right now, the top 3 teams are all on the same half of the draw.
Yeah.
So Nottingham probably have got an eye on that, the way they've played Manchester this year, especially if it's Manchester Nottingham suddenly looking at that and going, we've got a real opportunity to get into a final.
And I could see
that. Last year, but that happened last year to them. They felt like they probably got the better draw in getting Durham and then Leicester Sevenoaks was the other semi-final, and then they blew the home game to Durham in the semis. I think Durham won that by 8. So yeah, Nottingham will probably look at that draw and probably be pleased with it, but they've still got to do the work to get there. And obviously, no team in WBBL is going to lie down. So it'll be interesting how that draw pans out. But if you're Sevenoaks or Barking, you're looking at going, well, we've got to play each other, and now we've got Leicester. It is a brutal draw for them. And it'll be interesting because look, I said if it is Nottingham on their day, Nottingham can beat everyone, but on paper it probably means we won't maybe get as good a final as we could get.
If it was spaced out. Yeah.
Because obviously we were saying that like again last year, Durham were the lower down in the league than Nottingham, and obviously that final was the final last year was terrific in March. It was a one possession game.
Yeah, it
down
was.
So you never quite know. And there's enough talent in this league that on the right day, anyone can beat anyone in a final.
Yeah, 100%, 100%. And this if they're in a few weeks, teams are going to have played more.
Yeah,
got that, got into a bit of a rhythm. Teams that have had a break, so it should be some really good games coming up. So I think we've covered everything there for the WBBL. Games this weekend, aside from the Sevenoaks Leicester game, have you got another pick?
I think Caledonia Newcastle will be interesting because obviously Newcastle have been a little bit short-handed in terms of depth of bodies. So there's a chance Caledonia have got everyone fit. They could perhaps make that close or beat them. But yeah, I think for me, obviously the two Sevenoaks games against Leicester and Nottingham, and then Essex Manchester, I think will really show where Essex are in the league. And if they suddenly beat Manchester, there's also some big question marks at the Manchester end, having then lost to Essex and Cardiff, of how good this Manchester team are. Could they be in contention to miss the playoffs even?
Yeah, I mean that could be a concern. So because Manchester now currently one win, 2 losses. Yeah, it could all change.
I mean, the thing is to point out as well, WBBL, it's going to get busy. We've got really the final game of the regular season is due for the 25th of April.
And is this the Leicester Oaklands game that it's coming down to? Leicester Sevenoaks, sorry.
Leicester Sevenoaks will be the final day. But outside of Nottingham and Newcastle, everyone else has got 15 games to play in the next 10 weeks or 11 weeks plus the trophy. So there's going to be a lot of games in a short period of time. So it's going to get the WBBL is going to get really ramped up in it. It's going to get really interesting.
Yeah, definitely. Quick question from Chester Donnelly: will there be any more WBBL games on Sky Sports? I don't know, to be honest. I don't know if.
Believe the plan is all finals.
The finals. Playoff finals. Yeah.
And playoff and trophy.
And trophy.
So yeah, I believe the plan is playoff and trophy final.
I'll take that. And then next season, let's get some more.
Yeah.
Okay, so we will wrap up there with the WBBL. We'll have a quick break and we'll come back and talk a little bit of EuroLeague and WNBA. So we will just have a quick word from our sponsors, Notch, and we'll be back in a minute.
Word from our sponsors, Notch, the mark of achievement, and we are very glad to have them on board with Focus Hoops this year. They make fantastic bracelets that look super stylish and really help you celebrate your sporting achievement. They've just launched a basketball collection and we're really excited to be on board with them. Let's imagine that you're a player, let's say that you're Courtney Vandersloot. You got 18 assists in a single ball game and you want a notch and a bracelet to commemorate that fact. Well, you can do just that. Customize it to your team colours, put the year that you achieved it and get it the exact size that you need. There are a number of the colours available. Or maybe you're a coach. Maybe you're the coach of a basketball team. Let's just say that you're the London Tyrannosaurus Rex. Your team wears red. You had the league's most valuable player, the MVP, and you want to celebrate that. You want to award them with a great looking notch bracelet. Well, you can do just that. And you can get it saying MVP on the notch itself. That's the charm. You can get the colour you want. Gold is one that I'd go for if we're commemorating the best player in the league. We could even get the team logo, if it's the Tyrannosaurus Rex, let's say, on there. And present it in a beautiful presentation case. Huge thanks for Notch for coming on board Focus Hoops.
That worked.
I don't think we've ever said it, but of all the team names to pick, it's the London Tyrannosaurus Rex. I don't know where Jaz's mind was at when he made that one up.
Maybe he was watching Jurassic World.
Yeah.
Okay, so we had a couple of EuroLeague games this week. Just the last 2 games to decide the final quarterfinalist from Group A. So that was decided today with Dinamo Kursk beating Izmit Belediyespor 84-46. Alex Bentley had 21 points, 4 rebounds, 5 assists, and Arike Gumbuwale 14 points, 4 rebounds, 6 assists for Dinamo Kursk. Izmit have really struggled in all of their games so far. They've not won. They've gone 0-6. Erica Wheeler that they've got playing for them, who will be with the Sparks this season. And they have a centre that I really like, Clarissa Dos Santos. But they have really struggled against some of the teams they've come up against. Obviously, they started the competition late. Things like that might factor into it. But Dinamo Kursk through to the quarterfinals, and they will be facing Ekaterinburg in their quarterfinal. So maybe the road ends there for them.
Good luck.
So, the quarterfinals start on the 16th of March, so I'm sure we'll have a bit of a preview in the next few weeks. But just to run through the bracket, we have Spar Girona versus Avenida, Lyon versus Sopron. The winners of those two games will play each other, and Galatasaray and Fenerbahce playing the winner of Ekaterinburg and Dinamo Kursk. So Fenerbahce and Ekaterinburg there. That will be. A little bit of European basketball news. Kennedy Carter, the greatest player ever this season, has signed with Maccabi Renan in Israel. They are currently sitting at the bottom of the standings, 2 wins and 9 losses. So they've brought Kennedy Carter in to just score loads of points and take them out of relegation, if that's a thing in the Israeli league. They've got Kalia Davis, who played for Atlanta this season, and Joyner Holmes, who's with the New York Liberty, which is a bit of a different situation for Kennedy Carter going into. She played 6 games with Turkey earlier in the year, was the only import player on the team, and scored 16 points a game. Left due to family issues, and she's obviously back playing. Their first game will be on the 25th of February, so I'm looking forward to that one. Right, let me give you my stat line of the week, Mikey. I've got 2.
Hold on. If we're going to do this, we've got to do it properly, right?
Okay, have you got the here we go. Kaz's corner. Kaz's European basketball stat Kennedy Carter corner. I like it. Is that new? I've not seen that before.
No, you've had it before.
Have I? Okay. I've forgotten.
According to Darren, you have at least.
Okay. So, stat line of the week. We have 2. I do remember this, yeah. Stephanie Madden playing for Canik in Turkey, 79-55 win, and that was their first win of the season. They've played 19 games and they lost the first 18, so this was big for Canik. She had 36 points on 53% shooting, no threes, which I don't know. I always find that quite impressive nowadays, just because everyone shoots threes. 23 rebounds, 5 assists, and 3 steals. So when I saw that, I was like, "Yeah, this is a stat line of the week. No one's gonna beat this one." And then Mikey pops up, and he says, "Hey, have you seen this player in the German league? Katlin Jon, playing for Wolfsburg in the 2nd division, had a 90-89 win over Hamburg, and she had 59 points. 59 points." Which is more than Izmit scored in their games this week. She went 9 of 14 from 2 and 12 of 18 from 3, which is frankly ridiculous, and nobody should be able to do that. 5 of 7 from the free throw line, 8 rebounds, 4 assists, with 2 turnovers, which very impressive for the amount of time she's played there. So, Mike, if you had to pick up, I feel it's unfair because we've got to give it to. We should give it to Caitlin.
It's not close, is it? The other thing to point out is that I believe that was first v second.
It was, yes. They'd both had, I think,
in the division.
Yeah, they'd both had. One was almost unbeaten, and the other was had only lost 1 or 2 games.
No, I think they're both unbeaten.
They're both unbeaten.
6-0 and 5-0 going in. Yeah, that's. I mean, 59 points is 59 points. And
in a 1-point win.
Yeah, it's not something you see every day, and yeah, that's
12 of 18 from 3.
It's a good shooting night, isn't it? And actually, I think there's I can't even find the box score now, but I think there was another big game from someone on the opposite team. It's like you put up all those numbers and you still lose. It's like, oh.
I think it was like nearly
Haley
40
McDonald,
points.
who's actually been on my radar before as someone I've looked at as a potential player. I think she had 30 or something. But yeah, 59 points and a 1 point win. It's a no-brainer. And I will say, it's unlike you, since it's kind of your favourite team, but do you notice Ekaterinburg didn't win by much this week? It was only 30.
Yeah, I was a bit like, are you not trying? I think Brianna Stewart had like a little double, but was it 19 and 10?
Yeah, only a 30-point win.
I mean, if it's not 80, it's like they're not really trying.
Yeah, with 6 players in double digits, yeah.
I think they even rested, like, was Vander, I think they didn't have their full, they weren't at full strength, Mikey. No. We've got to give them that.
Oh, of course. Sorry.
They only had like 4 of their 6 All-Stars. So yeah, congratulations, Caitlin Yon. That's ridiculous and incredible. And I'd like to see highlights of that.
Yeah, I think we all would.
And just to round up, before we finish, we've just a little bit of WNBA free agency news. It's been a little bit quieter this last week, thankfully, because it's quite hard to keep track of sometimes when you have other things to do.
Can it be any crazier than trading the number 1 overall pick round like no one wants it?
And I don't think they're done. I think Dallas are going to be.
We said that last week. Something's going to happen.
Maybe it's going to happen like draft night. Draft night, there's just an explosive trade. So a couple of the things that happened since last week. So I think literally just after we finished last week, Amanda Zawi signed with LA, which I like. I like that move. I like that for LA.
That was only last Thursday. Yeah, it was, because it feels like how long ago it was.
It's because that Seattle trade now feels like 8 weeks ago, and it was only last Wednesday. But yeah, I like that move for LA. I like Amanda Zawi as a player. I think she's great. Great person on the court, off the court. And I think that will really help with the loss of Candace Parker, because she's going to get you rebounds. And you're kind of almost replacing the rebounds that Candace Parker would have been getting you. Maybe not the offense, but it's a good pickup. Ariel Powers signed with Minnesota, which has made Minnesota very deep. They've now picked up Ariel Powers, Kayla McBride, Natalia Chonwa, someone else I've forgotten. Who they signed? Anyway, they were the big signings. And in order to do that, they had to trade Odyssey Sims to Minnesota, to Indiana, who then waived her, but took Lindsay Allen from Vegas in exchange for a pick. So Indiana ended up with Lindsay Allen, Vegas had a pick, Minnesota waived Odyssey Sims, and Indiana then signed Jessica Brayland, who who was with Phoenix last season, but opted out due to health concerns around COVID.
And Temi Fagbenle got moved in the deal.
And yes. So the rights to Temi Fagbenle are now with Indiana, but we've not heard if she's going to sign there. What's going to happen?
It'd be interesting, but I think the fallout from that was obviously to pick up Powers. Indiana basically decided to buy out Odyssey Sims, but the price of that for Minnesota was a lot. They basically had to give Odyssey Sims and not just give her away, but give a lot of assets away to make the deal for Powers viable, which is interesting to see how it worked, because ultimately they did give up a lot to go get Powers. Obviously it was a free agent move, but it was effectively the equivalent of a trade.
Yeah. I think they gave up 2 picks as well.
Yeah, I think they gave up a first and a third to get a second. So they had to give up a first to get rid of Odyssey Sims, which was, you'd argue, is a steep price.
And the reason they had to get rid of Odyssey Sims is because she's on a guaranteed contract, and you can only have 6 guaranteed contracts. So they couldn't do it. They couldn't make the Aerial Powers move without releasing some. one that's on a guaranteed contract. Do you think Odyssey Sims will get picked up somewhere?
Sure. The question is where and when. It might be a draft type thing, based on what needs you can pick up in the draft, and if there's a hole in your backcourt after that. Ironically, I mean, I'm just trying to think off the top of my head where she can go. Does she go ring chasing even? Wouldn't put it past, but again, you think someone like Dallas would potentially need another sort of combo guard.
I like that.
Because really, if you only got Mabry and Enrique as your main backcourt, and trying to think who else you've got in the backcourt really for Dallas, I wonder if that's an option. Vegas.
I could see Vegas have still got room. I think she seems like she would fit with Vegas. I mean,
obviously Vegas picked up Chelsea Gray, but she's really a 2. Who's left at the 1 outside of?
They've got Jackie Young and Raquana Williams signed with Vegas, but I don't think she'll play the 1.
So I can't think that Vegas have maybe need a. Did Minnesota get her back?
They could get her back. They could get her back, sign her to a lower contract, and have Indiana pay her the full contract,
which would be wild.
Because she fits with Minnesota. Like it's a good fit with Minnesota.
Yeah, and obviously seems to be chaos in Washington. So I wonder if, depending on how that all unfolds, if that ends up being.
That could be a good.
I don't believe Washington have got a single draft pick now, have they?
They haven't. No, they haven't in this draft.
So I wonder, therefore, if they're not going to get. I mean, you'd imagine that they maybe need a. Because right now, Lilani Mitchell's the starting point guard, I'd say.
Yes.
So you kind of think if that is a hole that I would imagine. So yeah, you kind of think straight off the top of your head, Vegas and Washington are probably the spots, but it's the WNBA. We said we expect trades to come down. So we'll see.
Yeah, I like that. I think that should work in Washington. I think that would be good. Atlanta don't need any more guards. They've got a lot of guards. Atlanta needs some height, please, Atlanta. Okay, I think that's everything then for this week. Have you got anything you want to know?
I don't think that. I mean, I've probably missed something. It feels like there's a lot going on.
Sure. Yeah.
But no, outside of that, back at it this weekend, which should be good.
Yeah.
And a lot of good domestic games, so looking forward to it.
And everything's on YouTube, is it? Everyone can watch on YouTube?
Yeah, so it'll be all the teams' YouTubes again. So Sevenoaks Suns YouTube on Saturday for Sevenoaks Leicester, and then back on the Nottingham Wildcats channel Sunday at 2:00. I think it's 1:30 Saturday, 2:00 Sunday.
I think we've got some clashes as well this weekend. Some games at the same time.
They are a little bit more spread out this week, so it's not terrible. And obviously, I know we focused on the women's, but obviously good luck to GB men as well.
Yes, of course.
On a near winning in situation on Saturday. If everything goes their way, they win on Saturday, qualifies them to the next round, whatever that is. So hopefully they can pull it off Saturday, and Monday, I believe, is the other game.
I need to, yeah. That sounds right. You're right. So yeah, good luck to GB. And the more they win, the more games we get. So keep it coming. Right. Well, we will leave it there for today. Thanks to everyone for liking. Thanks for your comments. Thank you. One last comment from Chester. Kaz Mikey, I'd really like to see Leicester Riders and Sevenoaks playing in Euro Cup. Yeah, I would. It'd be great to see a British team playing in it. I don't know how far away we are from that.
We talked about it last week. You've got Riders, Sevenoaks, and I think I wouldn't be surprised if potentially Barking, London Lions, however you want to, what their official name is, I always forget. I wouldn't be surprised if they maybe are the next ones to make the jump.
Yeah.
And go in with the men's team next year. I wouldn't put it past them. We'll see.
Definitely something that we want to see. I'm sure a lot of people want to see it as well. It's a great opportunity for basketball in this country to show what it can do. Okay, so yeah, thank you to everyone. Like, subscribe. We're on Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, Instagram. Check out focushoops.com. We've had a few articles published recently. I wrote a little bit about Connecticut Sun and who might step out under. Now Alyssa Thomas has been injured, who might take on a bit of a bigger role in the team this season. So you can read all about that on focushoops.com. And we will be back next Thursday with Darren. Are you coming back, Darren? And we'll drag him back. And we'll be bringing you all the roundup of women's basketball everywhere around the world. So thank you, and we will see you next time.